the one. I think about Ichiro, I think about special elite talent. My biggest thing when I think about Ichiro is that he's like a dancing ballerina that plays baseball.
I feel like he was just on ESPN SportsCenter every single day, and just always thought he was like a baseball god, and he is.
He had a slight frame and a picturesque swing resembling that of a top golfer. He was called Hercules because of his incredible consistency at the plate, and nicknamed the Wizard because he could hit everything to all parts of the field.
Just always thought he was like a baseball god, and he is.
Yes, Ichiro Suzuki made the number 51 jersey iconic and is one of the greatest to ever step onto the diamond. In this video, we will discuss the top 10 things about Ichiro to prove why he was one of the greatest in baseball. Stick around to find out how his personality makes him Michael Jordan-esque. Number 10. Superstar in Japan. Ichiro Suzuki was born on October 22, 1973. Suzuki grew up in Toyoyama, a small town just outside Nagoya in Japan. The legendary story began at the age of 7 when Ichiro joined his first baseball team and asked his father, Nobuyuki Suzuki, to teach him to be a better player. As a little leaguer in Toyoyama, Ichiro had the word concentration written on his glove in Japanese. By age 12, he had dedicated himself to pursuing a career in professional baseball. When he was ready to enter high school, Ichiro was selected by a school with a prestigious baseball program, Nagoya's Akiro-dei Maiden. Ichiro was primarily used as a pitcher instead of an outfielder based on a strong arm. Ichiro's cumulative high school batting average was .505 with 19 home runs.
まっすぐさあどうだライトどうだ入ったホームラン
Now, despite his outstanding numbers in high school, Ichiro was not drafted until the 4th round of the NPB draft in November 1991 because many teams were discouraged by his small size of 5 feet 9.5 inches and 124 pounds. But man, he would make them pay. Ichiro spent most of his first 2 seasons in the farm system because his then manager, Shozo Doi, refused to accept Ichiro's unorthodox swing, nicknamed the Pendulum. He silenced his own manager by hitting 156 minor league hits and a .368 batting average. It took until 1994 for Ichiro to break through as a leadoff man in the NPB, hitting a Japanese single-season record with 210 hits. In 1995, Ichiro led the Blue Wave to its first Pacific League pennant in 12 years and won his second batting title. The Japanese press had begun calling him the hit manufacturing machine.
Like, honestly, I used to pick all the time American League and National League. And all the time I used to pick the American League just because it had Ichiro on it. And like, it was all the time hit. How we call it in the Dominican Republic, we say like hit machine.
In November of 1998, Ichiro participated in a 7-game exhibition series between Japanese and American All-Stars. Ichiro batted .380 and collected 7 stolen bases and opened the eyes of American scouts. In 2000, Ichiro was still a year away from being eligible for free agency, but the Blue Wave was no longer among Japan's best teams. Because the team would probably not be able to afford to keep him and would lose him without compensation in another year, Orix allowed him to negotiate with the Mariners, signing a 3-year, $14 million contract. Number 9. Historic rookie season. Due to an agreement between Japanese baseball and the MLB, Ichiro could not play in the United States until 2001. Ichiro had his doubters when he made his debut, just like in Japan. Many teams had considered the 18-year-old Ichiro too small, and many Americans believed he would prove too frail to succeed against major league pitching or endure the longer 162-game season. After expressing no preference for a uniform number, Ichiro was issued number 51 by the Mariners, which was his number when he played in Japan. He was initially hesitant because it had previously been worn by the big unit pitching star Randy Johnson. To avoid insulting Johnson, Ichiro sent a personal message to the pitcher promising not to bring shame to the uniform. Ichiro lived up to the hype by accumulating a rookie record of 242 hits, breaking Lloyd Wayner's rookie record of 223 hits dating back to 1927, and the most hits by any MLB player since 1930. The season including hitting streaks of 25 and 23 games, an appearance on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and intense media attention on both sides of the Pacific. Aided by Major League Baseball's decision to allow all-star voting in Japan, Ichiro was the first rookie to lead all players in voting for the All-Star Game. That winter, he won the American League Most Valuable Player and Rookie of the Year awards, becoming only the second player in MLB history after Fred Lynn to receive both honors in the same season.
I heard that he had tremendous power in batting practice, and he would almost intentionally not use it during the game. Was that true?
Because his motto was that I can always go deep, but I like to get hits.
Yes, it was a historic rookie season. Number 8, brilliant base stealer. Ichiro was not the most prodigious base stealer of his era, but the man was good at it. Ichiro stole 509 bases in the majors and rarely made mental mistakes on the base paths. By Fangraph's base running runs, he added 95.6 runs with his legs, the most of any player since 2000, and third best in history behind only Rickey Henderson and Tim Raines. He is one of 7 players to collect at least 500 steals to go along with 3,000 hits, and the first since Henderson. While Ichiro stole just once over his final 2 seasons, he reached double digits every year through age 42, and joins Henderson as the only player since 1920 to steal at least 10 bases 3 times in his 40s. Young boys, if you want to swipe bags, just watch that tape of Ichiro. Number 7, among the best leadoff hitters. Finding a brilliant leadoff hitter is one of the hardest things to do in baseball. However, Ichiro had the uncanny ability to get on base for the middle of the lineup to do damage. Suzuki was arguably the greatest leadoff hitter of his era, collecting 2,529 of his hits from the top spot, which ranked behind only Rickey Henderson, 3,020, and Pete Rose, 2,924. However, compared to those two, Ichiro compiled a much higher batting average from the number 1 hole with a .323 clip, compared to Rose's .308 and Henderson's .280.
Ichiro, he's still a great hitter. He's the same kind of hitter. I think he's a better hitter than Pete Rose, actually. I do think that.
Yes, every good mother would like a son like Ichiro to set the table, right? Number 6, elite contact hitter. Of all Ichiro's baseball skills, none stands out as emphatically as his ability to hit for contact at the big league level. Across his MPB and MLB careers, Ichiro collected a mind-boggling 4,367 hits. It is 111 more hits than MLB hit king Pete Rose, and his 3,089 stateside hits ranked first among all players since 2000. He led the majors in hits 7 times, and his 262 knocks in 2004 broke an 84-year-old record held by George Sisler. Yes, the man was indeed a hit manufacturing machine. Was he really human? Number 5, trash talker. Despite his quiet personality, Ichiro was quite the trash talker. For instance, in 2007, before a trip to Cleveland, Ichiro said, "To tell the truth, I'm not excited to go to Cleveland, but we have to. If I ever saw myself saying I'm excited to go to Cleveland, I'd punch myself in the face because I'm lying." Man, that was as cold as Lake Erie. Another example is that in 2014, a Wall Street Journal article divulged that Ichiro learned Spanish so he could better trash talk to opposing players from different cultures. Yes, that's just Jordan-esque dedication to mentally beating the competition. Number 4, insane training. Ichiro was one of the best to ever do it because the man was insane when it came to training. When he was 7 years old, Ichiro and his father began a daily routine which included throwing 50 pitches, fielding 50 infield balls and 50 outfield balls, and hitting 500 pitches, 250 from a pitching machine and 250 from his father. He built strength and stamina by hurling car tires and hitting wiffle balls with a heavy shovel, among other regimens. These exercises helped develop his wrists and hips, adding power and endurance to his thin frame. Yeah, the dude was insane. Number 3, fantastic outfielder. Ichiro was the complete package because he could not only hit, but be equally as good in the outfield. At his best, Ichiro was an exceptionally rangy outfielder with a great arm. Since 2002, the first year UZR was calculated, his 125.9 mark in that stat is nearly 40 runs better than his next best right fielder, Jason Hayward. Ichiro won a Gold Glove award in each of his first 10 seasons, joining Hall of Fame Reds catcher Johnny Bench as the only players to do so. His 10 Gold Gloves ranked tied for third among most outfielders with Ken Griffey Jr., Andrew Jones, and Al Kaline, and no outfielder has won more than 12, Roberto Clemente and Willie Mays. So yes, when the ball was hit in his direction, hitters knew the man would make the play. Number 2, other mind-blowing records. Ichiro is all over the record books in his illustrious career. For instance, Ichiro went on a hit streak of 20 or more games 7 times in his career. According to Elias, only Rose and Ty Cobb, 8 apiece, had more streaks of such length since 1900, while Sisler also had 7. Only once in his MLB career did Ichiro finish a game with his career batting average below .300. That came when he took an 0 for 4 in his second game as a rookie, making him 2 for 9, .222 overall. He promptly went 2 for 4 in the next game and never looked back. Also, Ichiro reached the 200-hit plateau 10 times, doing so in his first 10 seasons when he averaged 224 per year. He is tied with Rose for the most 200-hit campaigns, although Rose did not produce his in consecutive years. Ichiro was a 10-time All-Star, and no Midsummer Classic moment for the speedy outfielder was more iconic than when he became the first, and to this date only, player to hit an inside-the-park homer in the showcase when he did it in 2007 in San Francisco. He was named MVP. Another nugget is that Ichiro actually hit better against left-handed pitchers, .329, than righties, .304. That batting average off southpaws is the highest on record for a lefty batter. Split data is complete going back to 1974. Since 1974, only 4 right-handed batters with at least 1,500 at-bats against lefties hit for a higher average than Ichiro: Kirby Puckett, Manny Ramirez, Derek Jeter, and Moises Alou. That man had no weaknesses. Number 1. Legacy for future Japanese players. Ichiro's move to the United States was viewed with some interest because he was among the first Japanese position players to play for an MLB team. The fact that Ichiro became known by his first name is no coincidence because Suzuki is the second most common family name in Japan. Ichiro's manager introduced the idea as a publicity move to help create a new image for what was a weak team and distinguish their rising star. Initially, Ichiro disliked the practice and was embarrassed, but later he embraced it as the star from the rising sun. In his rookie season, fans from Japan were taking $2,000 baseball tours, sometimes flying in and out of the US just to watch Ichiro's games. More than 150 Japanese reporters and photographers were given media access. Few in the game could rock a pair of baseball sunglasses like Ichiro could, and his uniforms always looked exceptionally tailored to his lean physique. Ichiro could have hit way more home runs if he wanted, and it was easy to get the sense that Ichiro could do practically anything he wanted on a baseball field. Yes, Ichiro was the standard bearer and paved the way for likes of Hideki Matsui and Shohei Ohtani. He is one of the greatest to ever lace them up. Do you think Ichiro is the greatest pure hitter of all time? Is he still the #1 player to come from Japan? Let me know in the comments section, smash that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more premium sports content. Until next time.